came
Share price
out.
was like $40,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's, I don't know, like heading towards $15. You basically went from 30 billion to minus 10 billion. That's minus $40 billion.
Isn't that fraud though? That's literally fraud.
So that basically went from 60 billion to 30 billion. So you half that.
Isn't that
Like, just think about
that's the
that.
definition? Imagine I grow this company from scratch, and then one of your employees does this. That's like stabbing you in the back, because we love when companies have negative press. As an investor, this is how I'm rubbing my hands, because I'm like, is there an opportunity here? Material uncertainty that may cast significant doubt on the group and company's ability to continue as a going concern.
Hi, guys. My name is Matthew Preston, and welcome to the Limitless podcast. Joining us, as always, is your co-host, Dr. Thaon Simms. Hail up the people, Thaon.
Hey guys, what's up?
And today we will be doing a deep dive into the Jamaica Broilers group, ticker as JBG, and some of the recent news that has come out about the company. I've seen a lot of articles, a lot of, I'm sure like groups and stuff are like going crazy over it. Investor briefings, there's just a lot of information out there. And yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I'm just going to share some of the stuff. So Thaon and I are just going to share some of the stuff that we found so far. And I guess it's evolving, So yeah, how are you feeling about this one, Thaon?
Yeah, I mean, a lot's going on. The market's always very festive. And, today we're focusing on Jamaica Broilers. I mean, there's so many other companies where a lot of festivities are going on right now. Like even IPOs are out and so on, and we haven't even reviewed any of those things. So, I think with Broilers, we did an episode on them earlier this year. I think it's been months. It's been like almost half a year ago.
We even started with an episode, we did a tickers or a stock review on it. I think that was last year.
That was last year.
We didn't do a full episode on it this year. It was more like a clipped segment of a discussion we had with Randy Rowe. Big up Randy. You guys should check that out. So yeah, I guess it is interesting, because if you think about it, back when we were talking about it, that was before all of this stuff came out.
Yeah, and the numbers came
share
out.
price was like $40, and now it's, I don't know, like heading towards $15.
Yeah. Let's see.
JBG terrifying drop to 15. Anyone?
Well, could smell opportunity, so there's always that. But yeah, I think this is gonna be an interesting episode because there's so much noise. So we're gonna try and cut through the noise and highlight certain things that we've seen and so on, and just have a fulsome discussion on what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get it.
Yeah. So I think the first thing to do is, so we're probably gonna say, we're gonna either refer to the company as, I think I usually used to say Broilers or JBG. So JBG or Broilers, or more formally known as Jamaica Broilers Group, is basically a group of companies that deal with a lot of chicken related business and other stuff too. So they're chicken and other stuff related to like the farming and the equipment around rearing other animals and stuff. But most people probably know some of the products that they sell or some of the brands. So they're basically the person.
Actually, if you've lived in Jamaica and eaten chicken in Jamaica, chances are it's come from JBG. Yeah.
At some point, it's either them or
or CB. Yeah,
Caribbean Broilers. Yeah. So it's they are basically own like the best dressed chicken brand. Another one, Reggae Jammin'. What's another one? Hamilton's. Those are a lot of the brands. High Pro. Which other one? Those are probably some of the ones that most people. Yeah, Hamilton's
is owned by JBG.
Is them.
I swore that was CB.
No, Hamilton's. It's on their website.
Oh, okay. I'm probably thinking of another thing by CB, but okay, no problem.
Yeah. I think there's I think they have a branded, like a specifically branded. I just say they compete and stuff, but like Hamilton. So if you do like Well, I know them for like their sandwich meats. So I used to have some of those sandwich stuff. I kind of stopped, I guess, now, but like some of the, I had like jerk chicken, pastrami. Used to be
Oh
very easy to
yes.
make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
I
And I
remember.
think
Okay.
you've said in the past that you like the best dressed chicken, some wings, right? You still eat those or no?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't still eat them, but they're good, and it was so easy because what I would do in the mornings is just take them out and just pop them in the air fryer, and you know, bathe and so on, and get ready. And by the time I'm ready, boom, they're done. So I
Mm,
like the convenience of a lot of their products, for sure.
mm, mm-hmm,
Yeah, and they have like nuggets too, and it's quite a few things. Quite a few
mm-hmm,
other products that I do enjoy. So yeah.
mm. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, yeah. So that's them. So basically, whenever we say broilers, we're referring to the people that's their business.
Mm-hmm.
And so people know them as, oh, the Jamaican side, but a lot of people don't know that they actually also have businesses in the States, United
Mm-hmm.
States. So they do a lot of those different processes and stages in the chicken industry, and it's actually a pretty significant part of the business. It's, I think,
Yeah,
almost, I think it's like 40% or so of the revenues or
something
the
like that. Yes.
sales. How much the sales that actually come from there. So
And I
that's
think it's
really so.
about 30% or 28% of revenues come from the US as well. Something like that.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you have 40%
hmm.
of the
I think
assets
in the
are.
audits, yeah, when we get to the audits, I think the audits actually had a specific value up until that period, so we can talk
Hmm.
about that. But yeah, I think that's probably most of the things that someone would need to know about broilers or JBG.
Yeah. And they
And
control the full vertical, meaning like from eggs all the way up to full chicks. So that, like even the feed mills and the feed that they use
mm-hmm,
to feed the chickens, breed of
mm-hmm,
flocks, all the way up to hatcheries, the full grow
mm-hmm,
out farms, the processing plants, and even, when processing plants, like, you cut off chicken head, pluck them, all of that stuff, and then distribute them, package and distribute. So they do, it's from egg to the packaged best dressed chicken. They do all of that. So that's what they call like a full vertical integration. That's basically what it is. They
mm-hmm,
control the entire process flow. So that's how they allow or ensure quality, I guess, because you control every step, and
mm-hmm,
you keep your costs in check and so on. So yeah, that's how they put it.
mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that's basically broilers or JBG in a nutshell. If you want more information, you can probably check out our deep dive that we did into them. I don't remember what we titled it. I think it was like double. Is this the way to double $1 billion or something?
Yeah.
And yeah, and if
That
you
had
watch
to do
it,
with
you'll
that
know
Mayberry.
why.
Yeah. That was a great
Yeah,
episode.
no,
Yeah.
leave them. Give them some. If you want to know it, you watch it. It was a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
episode. It was a good. There's an Easter egg in there. I don't know if many people have realized the Easter egg. If you're watching that video now, comment on this video saying what the Easter egg was. That's how
Mm.
we know you're like the real fans, the real limit breakers. But yeah, so basically that's broilers. Hopefully that's straightforward. They basically do a lot of business in the different chicken and stuff like that, and other meats and animal meats. They basically deal with a lot of food or a lot of protein and stuff. And I think it's like how I kind of explain this. If like you're say just getting into this, Jamaica Broilers has been around for many many years. Like I don't even know. Do you know how long it's been around? Probably like 50 years,
From the
100 years. I don't know.
1950s, I believe. I don't know the exact time, but I know it's close to 70
1950.
years.
So that be seven. Okay. Yeah, say March 2024. Our article says, well, from their website, JamaicaBroilersGroup.com, it says now 65 years old. So last year it was 65 years old, right? So this company has been around for longer than probably most of us or most of you guys watching this video,
Hmm.
right? And they've grown significantly when you look at just how much money they were making before to now. They have grown so much. They are regarded, I'd say, as probably one of the most trusted companies or very blue chip. And then blue chip would be like, oh, it's really like a very safe company. It's like one that's going to be around for a very long time. And
Yeah.
it's chicken. People are not going to stop eating chicken. So it's something that, if you're just getting started in investing, a brokerage house or a advisor is going to be like, yeah, they look at some of the companies. They'll usually say they're GK, Grace Kennedy. They'll say you're Seprod. They'll say,
They've told
I
me
don't know,
broilers.
Wesinco. Yeah, and then they'll probably say
I've
Broilers, Jamaica
I've been
Broilers.
told, yeah, I've been told to invest in broilers when I just started investing for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I can see why a lot of people would say that, because it's like, hey, they've been around for a long time. They're very profitable. They're paid some dividends.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that is something like chicken, especially like in Jamaica. It's not like, oh, they're just gonna. It's not easy for someone to just. Well, basically, yeah, people like thought that, hey, it's very safe and it's gonna be around for a long time, and if you put money in there, you can't lose it. So it was like what you call a blue chip stock.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was last year. I'm trying to remember the exact date. A notice came out saying that this is unloading. Hold on.
You know that I was looking at an article a while ago too, and it said
Mm-hmm.
for even their Jamaican operations, um, the total economic, I'm gonna just quote it. The total economic
Mm-hmm.
contribution of Jamaica's poultry industry has been estimated at 310 billion, with a
Mm-hmm.
capacity to meet 88% of local demand. So the
Mm-hmm.
the top two companies basically almost meet our local demand of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found the
Um.
notice.
Mhm.
So let's give some clarity. So basically, the beginning of the January, so recorded in 2025, it was like $40, right? The stock, $40. You could buy a share for $40, and then I think the total company would have been worth. Can I quickly do the math on that? Let me see. That'd be like 40 billion, I think. Yeah, well,
Mm.
almost okay, almost 50 billion. So yeah, the company was worth 50 billion Jamaican, right? At the beginning of January based on the stock price. And then a notice came out February 28th, 2025 to the stock exchange that said, hey, a senior member of the company, well, this is a paraphrase, but they're saying, hey, a director of the company who has been with the company since 2002, who grew the company, he was a president of the US side of the business. He grew the revenues. At the time when he started, it was 10 million US. Now the revenues for that side of the business are over 250 million. Like, put that into
Mhm.
perspective. That's what, 25x? Wait, no, that's more than that. How much is that? Can I math?
No, you're probably
That is
about
20.
right.
No, that is, yeah. Okay,
It's
I can.
close.
But yeah, they said, hey, he's resigned from the company, and I think he's related to the family. I don't know the specific relation, but somewhat close. And then I'll try to post the notice in the description or such. I didn't really say that, hey, he just said he's going to pursue other opportunities and he'll pray God's blessing upon him. Right. And then a few, I guess, weeks later, a financial report, basically they have to post one every quarter. They split the
Mhm.
year up into fourths. And then they said, hey, here's our results. And it was kind of a shocker. I'm trying to see if I can pull up the exact results, but it was something that I guess doesn't, because they've been making profits for years and years, and more profits, doing well. It wasn't anything that was, I guess, yeah, it wasn't something that people would have expected. And then all of a sudden they just say, hey, wow, we lost a lot of money this quarter, and compared to last year, we did not. I think the specific report was the January 2025 report. But yeah, so they just all of a sudden reported a loss. Whoa, what the heck? Like, what's going on?
Mhm.
And then they said, hey, there were some issues. I'm trying to see if this maybe I can quote the specific thing it said. Probably should share my screen till 1 sec.
And I remember in January, so based on the timeline of events, I saw that January 2025, that's when management
Mm-hmm.
actually became suspicious. They noticed
Mm-hmm.
like troubling disconnect in the US operations, because they were reporting like strong profits on paper, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, not actually generating the same level of cash flow. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a bit different where you're reporting profits, but when you look at the cash flow, you're not really seeing that kind of profits. So if in an article I remember reading for that January 2025 stuff, but it's a more recent article. I think it came out this month. And it said the first thing that hit us was seeing profits on paper but no cash. That's what the CEO recalled. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I was trying to do was show like what information we had at the time. You know, so it wasn't like, oh, you knew that part. But yeah, I guess going back now, we can see that. Yeah. So I said this was a report that this was the first thing where it said during I guess one of the red flags would say, hey, that's a family member. What's going on? I mean, anything can happen because you can have health issues and stuff. But yeah. And then it said during the quarter, corporate management identified a number of issues relating to expense management and operational controls in our United States operations. And then they said this, in addition to hurricane and flooding challenges in our United States broiler operations in the quarter, led to the lower United States segment results noted above. So they're saying, hey, I mean, it was kind of vague to me. It says expense management and operational controls. And then I guess what progressively more and more information came out. So you saw like, oh, another report come out.
Yeah.
It was, not so, let me see which report.
Not so hot
So that was
at
the
all.
first. Yeah, I think so. That one was a loss. The one after that, oh, it's not loading.
You know, when we first saw that though, we had a discussion in our group chat, and you know, one of the persons were like, that was just big red flags in our group chat. I don't know if you remember who said it, but they're like, yo, that sound shaky, you know, that sound like something.
I
And
feel like
something.
I said it, but I don't know.
Yeah, you said it, but somebody else really commented saying, this looks like fraud, this looks like this, that, and so on. And I was just like, oh, really? And then I started doing, and then we started hearing more. So I guess you guys show some more stuff that we were hearing.
Yeah. So basically, all the other reports started showing, hey, you know, things weren't as good. And then I think what was happening was that there is the audit, which is like, oh, how you think of an audit? I don't know how you think about it, like a double checking of the accounts
Financials.
of the company, like the financials of the company, what's going on at the company. They're saying, okay, what you're seeing, like how much you said you sold, that's actually how much you sold. You didn't, you know, understate it, overstate it. It actually works out. Double checking things, making sure the things add up. Everything needs to add up. So if someone's like cooking the books or editing things, trying to, you know, fix up stuff, it's usually not going to add up the way it should, right? And yeah, basically they said, hey, you know, we're going to have to do an audit. And then the audit is supposed to happen within a certain time period. And then they were saying, hey, because of what's going on here, it's going to take longer. And then they delayed it, and then they delayed it and stuff. And then eventually they released it. And then that's basically, I guess, what has led us, you know, today. So I will show the audits on screen too. So basically, well, I think the first thing to give good context, so I'm going to try to link these in the description and stuff. It was like they had already posted their financials from the previous year. So you have to do audited financials every year, right? So it's almost like what you said before, that's going to have to be double checked, right? So previously what the audit had showed, or their financials had showed, for the 12 months going from early 2023 to April 2024, they basically made a certain amount of profit, which is good, right? You say, hey, you know, I want a company to make profits. I want it to buy things at $10, sell them at $20 or $30 and make more money, right? And they, just like the previous years, they actually did better for April 2024. I think part of it, they had sold a hatchery, like to hatch actual eggs or the chickens or whatever. And so that helped them. But, you know, the business made $6 billion in profit for that April 2024 period at that time, right? And then the year before that, they actually beat that previous year. So they, in April 2023, they did, it says 4.2 billion in profit. Let me put it, max it. Yeah, 4.2. April 2023, they did 4.2 billion in profit. April 2024, they did 6 billion in profit. So yeah, you'd say, hey, you know, the group profits, things are doing well. They actually had to restate that. And so they're like, basically the auditors went in and they said, hey, is what actually happened, or is that, yeah, they're basically double checking it, saying, hey, is that actually what happened? And they ended up restating it.
Yeah.
And if you look, they went from 6 billion in profit to basically about 2.98, or I just call that 3 billion in losses. So it was basically a reversal, right? So you told me you made 6 billion in profits. It's not like you made 3 billion in profits. You actually made a loss. So you went from billions in profit, millions of US in profit, to millions of US in losses, right?
Yeah.
And then they actually, because that was just the previous time. Now we're actually doing what's going on now, or more recently. The most recent financials, this is up to the audit for May, up to May 2025. So this would be from June 2024, July 2024, all the way up until May 2025. They actually did worse. So not only did they make a loss again, they lost $7 billion, right? $7 billion. So you went from making supposedly 6 billion to not even making a profit, negative like 3 billion in loss, and then you double the loss again, or more than double the loss. You know?
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. And if you even look at the balance sheet, which is okay, you have the assets, which is like, oh, for them, the actual chickens, the machines, all of those different stuff, their properties that they may own, those are the assets, they're worth stuff. And then they have the loans or the liabilities. The assets dropped significantly too. Because when I looked at it in, let me see, in April 2024, so there's what you call current and non-current assets. Current assets, I think, are things that you're going to sell within
a year,
or you're likely going to sell within the next year. Yeah. And then non-current assets are things that you're likely going to hold for over a year. So a chicken, they're probably going to sell that within a year, versus maybe a property, they're not going to sell that in a year, or a machine that, unless they were specifically selling the machine, say it was a machine that they're going to be using for maybe 5-10 years, it would be a non-current asset. But the assets dropped quite significantly. So they did, based on the April 2024, this was before it was fixed up or corrected, they had what they call total current assets of about, it's about 60 billion Jamaican. And then the restated halved it. It went to 28.9 billion. So that basically went from 60 billion to 30 billion. So you half that.
Isn't that
like, just think about
that's
that.
the definition of, like, isn't that fraud though? That's literally fraud.
What is fraud? I don't know. What is fraud?
Well, I mean,
I think what is fraud?
It's when you. That's a good question. I want to get the
Google or the
let's
Oxford
get the
definition.
Yeah,
What is
because
fraud?
I'm seeing it now.
Okay.
It's wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in financial or personal gain. So it's it's deception basically, and I guess one of the ways you kind of meds it is what you're saying is asset inflation. So they put out their statements, like JBG has already put out their statements, and one of the ways that we're seeing is asset inflation. So the division basically, well, I guess you can say you saw the numbers that's doubled. They dramatically overstated the value of the assets, which were like the chicken and inventories, maybe like feed and grain stockpiles and those kind of stuff, right? So it makes the assets look more valuable than they actually were. So there's that. And then you were talking about like in the first report that you just mentioned as well, you said expense management too and so on, but those are vague terms, and when you kind of meds it, like even the cost of sales looked like they were underestimated and underreported. So it might, so cost of sales is it's just how much, if I were to sell a chicken, how much does it cost for me to sell that chicken? Like, how much money does it take to maybe grow the chicken and pluck the feathers and kill it and all of those and package it and so on. Like, that's the cost. And then your revenue is how much cash you receive from selling that actual chicken. So if you're underestimating your cost of sales and so on, I mean, when you look, though, that cost of sales is under the income statement. And so if you are underestimating the cost of sales, because that's what they call, I think, cost manipulation, then it's supposed to look like you have more profits because Um, but they really weren't. So instead of properly recording those costs on like the income statement, where they would have reduced profits, they're actually hidden. And they're actually hidden on the balance sheet. There's actually an article that said that a lot of them were actually just hidden on the balance sheet. Is a JBG Ways exit from US meat business after $46 billion fraud. This was by Dashan Hendricks in the Jamaica Observer. So I mean, all of what we are saying, guys, is just articles we're reading and so on. So, if you think it's
we'll get
a
into
lot
that
of what
later.
we're saying, and actual.
No, I was just saying, if you look at it, most of the articles are some of them I guess are going from most of the articles. I don't think they're saying things like they're basically like we're talking about Chinese telephone. So there's a source, and then you pass on the message, and then you pass on the message. If you look at it, I'll say most of the articles are getting
directly
their
quoting
sources from the financials, or not directly quoting. Remember that there's the
no this
thing, but I'm
one
saying
this is what I'm saying is
okay. You're
what
saying some
I
of the parts
said.
are quoting.
Yeah, and
Okay.
what I just said about the cost of sales manipulation, that's directly quoted from the CEO himself.
From the investor briefing, the Mayberry investor briefing.
Yeah, and he was saying, so and then
So I was just saying the point was, I just want to finish the point. Always like check the source yourself. So I'll try to link the investor briefing and the financials. Check the source yourself. Don't just read the article. The article may have a headline and may make you want to scream out, think the world is ending, and then you actually read it and you're like, wait, it's not that bad. I'm not saying this is not that bad. I'm just saying always do your own research.
Facts.
Sorry.
And if you
that's the end of the point.
Yeah, no worries. Click the link that I just sent you though. In this chat.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, but if you click that link, and I was talking about the hidden costs in the balance sheet, and then they said Levy explained, and it said the entire scheme just unraveled in a matter of 2 months. Every day you're just waiting for the next blow, the next blow, the next blow. Like sometimes I have to put myself in the CEO's shoes because
DJ, I sweat.
Like as bad as this is, and don't get me wrong, it is bad. Like this is pretty bad because it's a public company. You have investors. You have to speak to and account for, and you have the trust of a nation, because this is the best dressed chicken. Like every Jamaican knows the best dressed chicken. Even people abroad know it. So it's bad. But I have to put myself in the CEO's shoes, and I'm like, yo, imagine I grow this company from scratch, right? Let's say him start the company and thing, or his family or so on, but he's been CEO. You're growing it and so on, and then one of your employees does this, and a whole division does this,
or maybe not just one, and we don't know.
Yeah, that it's not no G and if you get what I'm saying. Yeah. If you know, you know. But yeah, it's not. It for me. That's like stabbing you in the back, because you spend all your time and effort and years building this company up to what it is, only for it to be undermined like this. I can't even imagine what they're going through. But yeah,
lots of sleepless nights.
Lots of sleep, and he said it right here. You're just waiting for the next blow. And it's crazy because the US business was growing, right? It was growing, but when you contrast that to the Jamaican operations, is really Jamaica carrying the company now. But yeah, there's some other things that I saw too, in terms of like the different things within fraud that I'm seeing. So there's something called liability concealment. So debt to vendors and suppliers, they were actually hidden through unrecorded liabilities, and then understated vendor financing
what does that mean?
arrangement. So yeah, I go explain it. So basically, if Preston's a vendor, like let's say I own a chicken
vendor
shop. Yeah, let's say I own a chicken shop, and you are but I'm selling. I own a cook shop, sorry, but I buy my chicken from you, right? You
also, I'm broilers in the example.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I don't want to use that example though. But all right, let's use it, right? You are I come to you to buy your products so that I can sell my product. So it's like raw material and so on. But what I'm doing is I'm maybe let's say I'm actually buying 10 chickens from you, but
Mhm,
in reality I'm just saying that I've bought 5 chickens from you. Like in my accounting and so on the books, I've only written
mhm.
that I've bought 5 chickens from you, but in reality I bought 10 chickens. Or it should be the other way around still. But that's kind of what it is. Like you're not
We say other way
writing.
around, as in buying more chickens than you're saying.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
to kind of prop up the books. So
Mhm,
it's just like you're not writing the exact amounts, and so
mhm,
it makes the company appear. Um, so for this, the liability concealment, it's like it's making the company appear less in debt than it actually is. So let's
mhm,
say they owe different people a bunch of money or so on, but they're not
mhm.
actually writing that that's the amount of money that they owe. They're writing that it's less. So that's what liability concealment is. And then in that article too, there was this
So it's
thing called.
almost like if I was, like, say I was a company and I wanted to lend money to you, I would
Mm-hmm,
do like, say you want to get a credit card, you Thaon, you want to get a credit card. I can do an assessment, like a
mm-hmm,
credit report, and it would tell me, Thaon actually has a loan to JMMB of $1 million. He has that's an unsecured loan. Then he has a car loan of say
mm-hmm.
$2 million. So he owes $3 million and he doesn't have any credit cards. That's all the money he owes. And I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, he only owes $3 million. He's earning in a certain amount of money every month. I'd be willing to lend him $2 million because, or maybe I'd be willing to lend him $1 million because he's already paying the $3 million. He's been paying it every week or every
mm-hmm.
month or whatever. I
And
don't
I
feel
make
scared at loaning him $1 million.
because I
It's
make
almost like
10 mil. I make 10
wow,
mil a
okay,
month
damn, bro. Okay,
a
it's
year.
balling.
Sorry,
Are we
no,
balling? Big
but
balling?
you have to pay other things, but you have the loans and so on. So
Okay,
I,
okay,
I,
bro. Okay, bro.
it seems as if
You don't
I
get my game
only
up.
have $3 million in
Mm-hmm.
debt,
Yeah.
but in reality, I have
Mm-hmm.
$10 million in debt, and I'm just
Mm.
making 10 mil. You know,
Or
so
maybe you're making
yeah.
$1 million.
Or maybe I'm making no. Well, you wouldn't lend me if I'm making a mil and I have 3 mil.
No, but no. What I'm saying is, suppose you submit a document that
Yeah.
says you're making 10 million, but you're actually making $1 million. That's basically this example that you're saying, right?
Well, it's a bit different because it's more liabilities. It's not revenue concealment, it's
Mm.
liabilities concealment. So it's
Or
more debt.
loans.
Yeah, it's more loan. So
Mm-hmm.
it makes it look like I don't have that much debt. But in reality I do have that much debt. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of I actually have $10 million debt, but in reality I
Mm-hmm.
have but what I'm telling you is that I only have $3 million debt. You get
Mm-hmm.
me?
So it's like
Um
I seem a lot more safe
yeah,
than I
less
actually
risky.
am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying pretty sure anyone will feel very comfortable lending a guy who's on paper is worth $1 billion. Like you said, say you lend him $1 million, he's worth $1 billion. You're like, what is a mil to him? He's a billionaire. I'd feel fine lending him $1 million
Yeah,
versus he's actually a chopper and he only is worth 10 grand. And you've just lent him
facts.
$1 million. You're not getting your money back, bro.
Yeah, real.
Yeah, or yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good example to kind of explain
Mm-hmm.
what's been going on. And I guess the reason I wanted to explain, like, remember we said that at the year it started at $40. Today we're recording it is 1888, so it's basically $19. So
Mm-hmm.
it has basically halved. It's gone down by 50% since the beginning of the year,
Yeah, more than.
you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
And
think
it went
it's
as
it's
low
quite
as $17.
I think it's even touched 15, or is that uh,
And I have to check the
no,
price.
17 is the lowest I see.
Yeah.
$17. Wow.
Well, that's
Damn.
that's when it closed. I don't know.
No, that was the low. No, that was the
Oh, that was
low
a
on the
low.
candle.
Okay. The
No,
candlestick. Okay.
November the 17th. But yeah, and I think there's been a lot of articles coming out, press releases from the company, financials. There were some things, I guess. Well, you read you were able to read the
Yeah, I
audited
read.
numbers?
I skimmed through the audited numbers and
Yeah,
boy,
there were a few
cracks in the
things.
coop. Cracks in the coop.
There are a
Mm-hmm.
few things that I don't know if I ended up highlighting them. I don't know if I wanted to get your opinion to see if I'm being crazy. So the auditors, which is PwC, they posted an audit, and there were some things that I highlighted. So they did mention stuff. They said the investigation identified material prior period errors, which resulted in the company deciding. I found some of the wording stuff. They said the company decided to restate the prior period. I don't think they were deciding to. Didn't they have to? I don't know. I was just nitpicking on the words still. I don't know. That deciding may be a bit strong. I don't know. I'm not an
Maybe.
accountant.
Yeah.
And they mentioned the same thing about, you said, recognition of unrecorded loans. One of the things that stood out to me, it says the company's internal investigation. So the investigation that the company Broilers itself did not include certain forensic electronic communication searches, which I guess that's like emails and text and calls,
Maybe.
ordinarily expected given the circumstances of the accounting irregularities. So they're basically saying that, hey, something that the auditors, who are supposed to be apart from the company, separate from the company, not biased, they're saying based on these similar situations when other things have happened, I guess, in other countries or with other businesses, got chopping pays. They're saying that it's usually expected or ordinarily expected that, hey, there'd be some analysis on the whole, communication. Like, I'm guessing it was emails, phones, and texts. And then they said, as a result, we were unable to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence regarding the completeness of the full extent of the accounting irregularities. So they're saying they can't actually give as much, they don't have as much evidence as I guess they would typically want.
Yeah.
To be able to sign off and say, okay, this is what we say it is. So it's almost like they're saying there's possibly more information. It doesn't necessarily have to be, because they could still do it and there's nothing really else added. But they're kind of saying, hey, ideally we would have preferred this, and usually based on what we know as the auditors, once again, I'm not an accountant, I'm just looking at what they're saying. And then they said, consequently, we were unable to determine whether any further adjustments were necessary to the consolidated and standalone financials, or basically the financials. So they're saying that, hey, there could still be technically other things that, could be adjusted. Technically, also, there may not be, but they're just saying, hey, we would have preferred to have that information to sign it off. I don't know. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because for a while, all of this deception just kind of went unnoticed. And then you go back and you see that multiple layers of oversight actually failed to detect the scheme, including the internal accounting teams, even external auditors in both US and Jamaica. So it's crazy and it's baffling. I think the execs also expressed that multiple teams miss such a massive multi-year fraud, and it stands to beg the question, how, like, how could this be? Because there must have been some clever tricks involved and so on. And then when you look in some of the documents and so on, they actually made what they call unfounded journal entries. Essentially, it's just like false or fictitious accounting entries to cover their tracks and so on. And these could be fake numbers to balance the books, perhaps recording like things like what, like a prepaid expense or some asset that never exists or whatever. So I mean, yeah, I mean, however, I don't know. I'm not an accountant. It'd be cool if an accountant came on here to tell us, like, well, I wouldn't say tell us how to do it, but tell us what people normally do. I would say in these, or some of these high profile cases that happen in the US and so on, like how they spread irregularities over like number of accounts and so on. So it's not like it's, how in certain instances, like even with Bolt's money and all these people's money at SSL and so on. It's big, right? And it's glaring right in your face. This is more. It's not one glaring fake asset. It's probably a web of like a lot of small deceptions adding up to some big lie. So, because how else can it pass everybody else? You know, like how can it pass this many different teams is the question. And I'm pretty sure the execs at JBG are wondering the same thing. So, yeah.
There was another thing I wanted to show. One of the metrics that I guess a lot of accountants and stuff like would be the shareholder equity. Basically, you take the assets or the things that help grow and make money and supposedly it's supposed to increase in value, which we said in this case with broilers would be like the chickens, the machines that deal with the chickens and the food and for the animals and all
cash.
that stuff, which that'd be the assets. Then they had the borrowed money usually, so that'd be the liabilities or the loans. So what if, for example, you had 30 million in assets, and say, for example, the person you lent the money to, you had to pay them all at once. You owed them 10 million. So you have 30 million. You have to pay them the 10 million. You could technically sell the things, which theoretically should be worth the 30 million. So you have, or say you sell 10 million worth of them and you just pay them back. You would still have some left over after. So you'd have that 20 million, right? So as I said, 30 million in assets, sell off the 10 million, pay the 10 million that you owed. You still have 20 million left. So that would be the equity. That so when you look back at the previous financials, so April 2023, the audit, this was before the recheck and whatever, they had equity of 25 million or 25 billion, right?
25
which you
billion.
say is good,
So
shareholder equity. Yeah,
that's assets minus liabilities.
Yeah, so they theoretically had to pay off all the loans. What is left after? And then they also have that's a good metric that you'd want to increase over time. And then they say April 2024, this was before the fix up, it was 30 billion. So they grew the equity based on this. Then, remember, as I said, they had to restate it. So this is the audit here. The shareholder equity went from that 30 billion to minus 1 billion. So this is basically saying that, hey, if they theoretically had to sell off or pay all their loans within a very short time period, they would not have. Theoretically, they couldn't. I mean, technically, you could get stuff for sold at a higher price than that and other stuff. But yeah, so that's not really a good sign. So you went from positive shareholder equity to negative shareholder equity. And it was just like, bam, with a flash. And then if you look at the May 2025 numbers, it actually is less. It's minus 10 billion.
Yeah.
Right? So you basically went from 30 billion to minus 10 billion. That's minus $40 billion.
Yeah, it's kind of
almost
madness,
the snap of a finger, technically. Yeah. So that's another one of the metrics that you would look at and say, hey, that's not really a good sign.
Yeah, it's really not.
Yeah. And, so those were. Oh, go.
No, I'm just agreeing with you, yo. Like it's really not a good sign. Like I don't even know what else to say right there, because just having to go back on the financials you've put out and say, oh wait, we really lost this much money, and then we're finding that out that we've lost actually this much more money, so we have to put out this. The deficit is insane.
What I would say, they did release a report after, so this would be the quarter that ended. They always did their quarters where this is ended, so this would be May, June, July this year. So that those 3 months, the checkup on the business, they actually reported a profit. They have a profit here of just about 1.6 billion, which is actually better than the previous year, the same period last year. It was about, let's say, I call it like 300 million.
Yeah.
So the profits
much
did
better.
go up.
The profits went up tremendously. By the way, it's like 400%, over 400%.
Yeah, and then the equity is getting better. So it's still negative, but they're getting there gradually. So they say this is at 8.6 billion. That's coming from the 10 billion. But I mean, remember, that's coming from 30. Remember, that's negative equity. This is coming from 30 billion positive.
Yeah.
They had excess. Now you're saying no. You would theoretically not want to pay off all your loans right now. You would not want to clear your debt, because if you did, and you're forced to pay it at work. Because the other thing too is that yes, you have assets and stuff, but if you're forced to pay someone very fast, you usually can't get as good a price as you'd want. It's not like, oh, you can go shop around and go to this guy, go to this guy. Maybe this guy would buy it from you, just like if you're selling a car. You know, what if this guy would buy it from you, but he's like, yo, give me 2 months. But you're like, hey, I don't have 2 months. I have to pay this guy right now. You're going to maybe have to sell. Maybe a guy comes to, he's like, hey, I'll sell it to you quick. I'll buy it from you quick. But I'm going to,
Mm-hmm.
want like a nice discount or something. Versus,
Yeah.
oh, you could
Yeah.
wait for that guy. It's the same concept. You wouldn't, even though the assets might say, oh, it's worth $1 million. If you're forced to sell it very fast, you may not actually get $1 million. Maybe you have to get
True.
800K. Maybe you have to get 700K. So,
That's true. And
yeah. So
one of
those.
the metrics that you meds in assets, and a lot of people don't really meds, is like those intangibles as well. Things that we call goodwill. It's like the brand reputation, because you have to put a dollar figure on those kind of things. It's under like goodwill is under that. So, give you an example. Clark's, right? One of my favorite shoes. I've been wearing
Oh,
Clark's since I was, from before. where do you keep getting this cartel thing? Anyways, I guess that's a pre-save sound. But I've been wearing Clarks from before Cartel made those songs, because I walked bad as a kid, and so my dad said the only shoes that would last long is Clarks. But in Jamaica,
you walked
Clarks,
bad.
yeah, like I'd walk on the side of my foot, so shoes wouldn't last me a full year when I was in like.
Why?
Why did I walk bad?
Are
Ask
you
God. I don't
bowleg?
know, bro. No, no, my leg's straight. My leg's straight. I don't know. I just walked on the side of my feet. I don't know, bro. You're a doctor. You should know. Um, but yeah. So Clark's has good, or I would say massive goodwill. Not just globally, but specifically for Jamaica. Yes. So there's like a
Mm-hmm.
price that you put that, like there's like a fixed value for that. And so when assets take a hit, especially for broilers and everything that's going on now, goodwill must have taken a massive hit as well. So the assets are just that much lower. So you have the tangible assets, the things you can touch, like the chicken and
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, and plants and so on, but and the property, plant, and equipment and all of those things. But then you have the intangibles, right? And yeah, that must have also taken a massive hit. And
Mm-hmm.
you also just spoke to them returning to profitability, because yeah, we described the crisis, but management never really just sits and mope and so on. They're launching their recovery plan. They're trying to restore that same confidence and financial stability. So them returning to profitability is a good sign. I mean, they achieved it even as the audit issues are still being sorted out. And essentially, once they stop the bleeding US you know uh costs, and recognizing true costs and so on, um and with Jamaica still doing well, the underlying business actually went back to making money. So that $3 billion in profits is big, and majority of that came from Jamaica. I think 2.6 billion came from Jamaica. Um, so yeah, I mean, it looks
Mm-hmm.
like maybe a turnaround, and the stock price is low.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We always say on this show that we
Mm-hmm.
love when companies have negative press. We love when companies are going through tough times. Not
Mm-hmm.
because, we love it as Jamaicans or so on, but just specifically as an investor, because there might be an opportunity. Yes, all of this is really bad, right? It gives Jamaica a negative look. Um, and it gives broilers, if you're an employee working at broilers, it must be tough for you guys. You guys get
Mm-hmm.
going through the mud right now. But as an investor, this is how I'm rubbing my hands, because I'm like, is there an opportunity here?
Mm-hmm.
Always offer meds opportunity. And so, hey, we will see.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things, like, do you think that Jamaica Broilers will go bankrupt?
uh No, well, no, I still don't think they would go bankrupt because one, okay, bankruptcy meaning running out of cash, specifically cash. I don't think so because I think the board first decided not to declare any dividends. All right,
Mm-hmm.
so that's breaking from their usual payout. I actually don't know how many dividends per year they pay out regularly. Let me see if I
Mm-hmm.
can find
It's
it.
usually
Oh,
one a year.
yeah.
There wasn't
Oh,
like I
last
don't
year
think there
was
were like a.
twice.
Oh, okay.
Q1 and Q4. The year before was twice too, and the year before was
Mm-hmm.
twice. So I guess that their normal cadence is twice a year, Q1 and Q4. Christmas and New Year's. But
Mm-hmm.
a joke. But yeah, so that's them signaling that we need to try and conserve cash, which is a good move. All right. Uh even though they don't have money, I think the CEO said in one of their, I think it was a Gleaner article. Let me see if I can find it.
Remember? Well, hold on. I have the what was it? Because I have the transcripts. I made a transcript for the briefing.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that article is probably saying from the briefing, so I could just show that.
Oh, and he said it's okay.
What
I
was it you were
guess.
saying? The specific thing, sorry?
Well, in the article it says he said it's ridiculous to borrow money to pay dividends. Um,
Oh,
so that
yeah. I have it.
yeah. So it says hinting at lean payouts for the next 4 to 6 quarters. So it doesn't look like they're gonna pay dividends until
Mm-hmm.
2027.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah. One of the things I was looking into, because there's a couple stuff, there are a lot of things that were in the briefing. I was looking into what was the impact with them and Hurricane Melissa, because I was thinking, hey, Hurricane Melissa was a huge hurricane, really
Mm-hmm.
freaked us up. And then this is happening to them. And it's like a double whammy because, like, hey, what if, for example, a lot of their farmers or a lot of their machines or what the assets or whatever they have, their business, what if that was also damaged by Melissa? So, in addition to all of this, where you owe way more people, you owe more money than you have, and then
Mm-hmm.
that happened, I was like, wow, that could really, affect them. But so
Even
far,
like
what I'm seeing,
the egg farms too. Like, have you seen
mm-hmm,
Chippenham eggs? They're owned
mm-mm,
by
no,
CB. Oh, they're owned by CB. I've been
Caribbean
seeing,
Broilers,
yeah, Caribbean Broilers. I've been seeing
uh-huh,
that, those farms have been hit tremendously, like eggs
mm,
wiped out. So there must be, I think there's a huge egg shortage right now.
mm-hmm.
And they're one of the biggest egg farms in Jamaica. So, but you were saying that you're not seeing that much damage?
Well, so there is there's I think there's not a lot of direct damage to them based on what I was reading from the briefing. I'll try to share the briefing. But what I was seeing was that because they were directly asked, well, it was more specifically about their hatcheries
Mm-hmm.
and their main assets. So this was I don't want to quote you because yeah, but I think basically what was said was that, hey, as it relates to the hatcheries and your main assets here in Jamaica, do you have any notable damage? And then Chris Levy, the CEOs, from what I understand, he was saying that, hey, they haven't really had any damage. They're good and running. They've been up and running. And this was what, last week? This was like mid-November. And they even have power back. But what I'm saying is that even if it doesn't directly affect say the chickens you own or the machines or whatever, because it hit a lot of the hotels, for example. So apparently they they're estimating their revenues about 15% or so comes from the hotel sector.
Mm-hmm.
So because hotels are damaged and hotels would buy the chicken from them, yes, their machines may not be hit, but the the people that buy a product, the business that buys a product, if the people aren't coming in because the hotel is blown away, then you're not really going to get as much chicken sold. So there
Well,
will be indirect.
true, unless they can be agile, because remember when I said
Mm-hmm.
Chippenham's Farms, which is CB, Carbon Broilers,
Yeah,
they're
true.
down, so maybe they're
So
new.
how much of their farms are down though? Is it like they
I
have
don't
a
know.
single farm? See, that's where I guess come like, I feel like they probably wouldn't have a single farm,
I
but
doubt
maybe I
that.
guess that's where you could do the research because you could say, wait, it'd be nice if they were public, or I guess depending on how you view it, maybe it's a good thing they're not public. Because if you could find that out, you could have an edge. What if theoretically, um, so say you're saying, oh, business in Jamaica is really them broilers, Jamaica broilers, Caribbean broilers. say it was 50-50. I know it's not 50-50, but just say it was 50-50. What if a huge portion of, what if you realize, wait, Caribbean Broilers has 3 different main locations, and most of the business is actually done through one of the locations, and then that is the specific one that was hit or really damaged.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could even go to the site and look at it and then talk to the people, say, hey, what's going on, man? What's up? Like, yeah, man, it's messed up. We're out. We won't be able to do the chicken. It's like, what? Just say, hey, it's happened. It's bad. But I guess depending on your level of research and your level of investment, then you could
Yeah.
say, wait, okay, maybe even though Broilers has been hit for this, maybe it's actually not. Maybe they can still have they could make more money than people are expecting, or most people are expecting. And then when that information then comes out, maybe that could turn it around, or turn around how people view the company, make them actually want to buy the shares versus selling the shares.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there are lots of things I'm also looking at, because yes, the hurricane had the significant risk, and I think I told you I spoke with Lisa Hanno. I don't know
Okay,
if I told
nice,
you about
nice.
that, but we were talking about I guess the duopoly. This was before Hurricane Melissa. This was like right before, maybe a week or two or so. I don't remember how long before, but definitely before Hurricane Melissa. And we're talking about the duopoly of like CB and JBG, Jamaica Broilers, and just what that having just 2 companies that supplies majority of, like, an overwhelming majority, like maybe basically 90% of our chicken in Jamaica, and chicken is our number 1 protein in Jamaica, that like those knock-on effects. And we had a long conversation. I really want her on the podcast. I should actually reach back out to her, but comment below if you guys want Lisa Han on the podcast. Yeah. Love that lady. But you start to think about those companies and their roles in things like national food security, and those are some of the things you're talking about. I mean, the government actually may have to have a role in supporting JBG when you think about it. Like they for it's a matter of national food security. So who knows? You may see the government intervening for JBG if there was anything significant or so on. So
You think
that's
they could
that's one of
afford
the
it?
things. What, the government?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you think about, yeah, I think so. I think they could find a little bit in the budget, because I don't think it would be super massive. And remember, they have money from relief and all of these other stuff too. And food is critical. Like, food is high on the list. So I think they possibly could, or they would prioritize it at least. Even if they don't have it, they might go find the money and prioritize it. Which I guess that's one of the benefits of being a monopoly / duopoly. So yeah.
There's some other things I wanted to share from the.
Wait, you didn't answer your own question though about the bankruptcy and so on. You think they could go
If I think
bankrupt?
no. Well,
Oh.
I think the odds are very low. Nothing is impossible, but I would say the odds are very low. I didn't, even when I saw this stuff and I knew there was more to come. Yeah.
I mean,
are you surprised by something like that? Oh, never
what?
mind. Because I don't know. It's, I guess when I look at it, it makes sense. Because I remember we were saying that the report came out. They said, hey, the audit is going to have to, they're delaying the audit, and they said, hey, there's other things that we have to be working out because there's fraud. It's like I knew that it would be bad. I knew that they would lose. I didn't know. I couldn't say how much money, but I was like, hey, this is probably millions of US. So it's funny, I guess. Well, not funny, but
yeah, no, I think I understand what you're saying. And one of the things I have to also mention is on that bankruptcy note. So I was reading still one of the articles as well.
Remember, it's the brief. Oh, hold on. I want to pull up the briefing.
Yeah, it's from the briefing.
Yeah. What was it? What was the point?
Well,
I can find it.
Was this from the briefing? This is from the 7th of so never mind. This was from the 14th of November. You're right. and they were just talking about the financials, and they were speaking about PwC, Price Waterhouse Coopers,
The
the
auditors, the
auditors,
accountants,
basically.
yeah, the
Yeah.
specialists.
And, one of the quotes was, "These events or conditions, along with other matters, indicate the existence of a material uncertainty that may cast significant doubt on the group and company's ability to
Mm-hmm.
continue as a going concern." And that's what
Mm-hmm.
PwC stated in its independent auditors report. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just them talking about how can they actually survive, maybe
Mm-hmm.
bankruptcy and so on. And in response, the company's director stated they're implementing a survival plan that includes detailed weekly cash flow forecasting, cost
Mm-hmm.
control measures, and ongoing discussions with financial institutions. Um, so they're doing things to. I understand the concern of bankruptcy, because it is real. Like, they could literally do that. They could get bankrupt, right? And if suppose broilers fail to secure like the refinancing and waivers and so on, in theory, lenders can demand immediate payment. I
Mm-hmm.
think based on that technicality, they definitely can demand an immediate payment, and that could
Mm-hmm.
push them towards insolvency or not having enough cash
Mm-hmm.
or having to do
Mm-hmm.
an immediate payout or so on. So,
Mm-hmm.
they said that they're doing things to avert this.
Yeah, they actually
Um,
spoke about what
a
they're doing, because
financing. I think they did a
yeah,
refinancing, or they found
they're in the
some money.
process of it. Yeah, or they're in the process of it is what hold on, let me share from the
Yes, in the process of it. You're right.
briefing. Yeah, so once again, still watch the briefing yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the questions they were asking about was, hey, all of this money that you owe the people, what are you doing? And they've been talking to like different people that can lend them the money,
Mm-hmm.
and there were some
Debt
good signs, I'd say,
restructuring.
because I saw, yeah, fancy term. They were saying like they're amazed at how well the discussions have gone and the partnership has remained. Like some of their advisors were commenting on that because they looked at, I guess, previous deals, and they're saying, hey, sometimes it can get very aggressive, and but so far it hasn't really been like that. So far,
Mm-hmm.
I think they said the package is 24 billion,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be a mixture of bank loans and bonds. And then I think they said the value of the bank loan is 4 billion. So I guess it's mostly really bonds. And it's actually
Yeah,
going
it's
to
really
be,
bonds.
they used to do unsecured loans. So it wasn't like, oh, they were pledging, it wasn't like they were saying pledging it against the value of their chickens or the value of their property. And then just in case if they could not pay them back, they would have to sell
Mm-hmm.
the property, or that person would own the property because, hey, you don't have the property, you don't have the money to pay me back. You have to use this thing, like putting it up for use a collateral, or
Mm-hmm.
they said that they're now moving to secured loans from
So
the unsecured loans.
they're securing it with
Again, some of
Jamaican
their
land.
assets or the things they own. I don't know what
Yeah.
I don't think they specifically said. I can double check, but I don't think it was specifically said what. I was just giving an example.
No, I think they said it. Yeah, they
Oh,
definitely said
okay.
it's insecure borrowing. So secure debt backed by Jamaican land holdings and specialized buildings. Yeah, that's what the Ian
Oh.
Passard said, who is the VP of Finance and Corporate Planning, I believe. Yeah. So once a deal closes, I guess Broilers can reclassify a lot of its debt back to more long-term debt
Wait, where
instead
you
of.
saw that? He said that?
It's in a Gleaner article. It's all articles I really use. I know you're using the
Uh,
transcript.
okay.
Yeah, it's in
Send the
this
article. Let me look.
Yeah, let me find it and send
Hmm.
it in our chat.
Are you sure you comment?
This is, yeah, it looks more like paraphrase, but yeah, rather than a direct quote. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, so
Okay.
I think what we need to explain is the fact that the audit delay and all of those things means you have to classify all the debt as current. I remember we spoke about what current liabilities are. You have to pay back those things within a year's time period. So that can kind of make the balance sheet look a bit awful. So the fix will restore the ratios and make it more long term, and so it looks better and so on. So that was a goal, to convert basically short term loans and so on into more longer term secured debt. So that gives you more breathing room. You know, you can actually breathe and say, all right, we have 10 years to figure this out. Let's figure this out, and so on, and how we're going to pay them back and continue operations and generating profits so that we can pay them back and so on. So yeah, which is good.
Oh, hold on. I found so there was another question. So there was a question that was asked about a revaluation, and then there was a follow-up question that said, I suspect that you're going to use collateral for the loans that you mentioned. Yeah, so it was said. Good. There were some other things that I wanted to just highlight. I wanted your opinion on. So let's see. It said there was something about, where is it? Yeah, so they talk about, there's basically 4 arms of the business. Let's say in Jamaica there is the Best Dressed Chicken and High Pro brands, and they said those are doing well. Then in the US, there's the Fertile Egg business, which is like their best thing, really, really good. And then there's the meat business, and what they're saying is that all of these fraud stuff and whatever is related to the meat business. I was wondering if they would actually even sell the meat business, because one of the things the CEO said, he was
I remember
saying,
that.
yeah, I thought
They
he was
were
alluding.
weighing a potential exit.
I don't know if he specifically. Well,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
They definitely said it. That's the thing that like popped into my mind. I'm like, oh, they could sell
so where
it.
you got that from, though?
No, same place. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be another article, but it's in the transcript. They actually said it.
Because the wording that I saw was so I think they were saying, this was paraphrasing Chris Levy. I was seeing that he was saying that, so I think strategically, which is important, we really set out to get this meat business turned around in the first quarter of the year, which is what you're seeing in the terms of the results. And then he said, but as meat prices have dropped out of bed between November and December, I think that the decisions that I'm looking at here and the team is looking at broader might change our direction a little bit. And then he said, yeah, we're not sure just yet, but we definitely are, like, he said, I'm not happy with how we're structured here in terms of our competition and what we're looking at. I don't know if that's the line that you were saying, he said.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And then there was another line where they said that there's lagging in the meat, and they said, I want to address that over the next couple of months. Once again, you should check the briefing yourself. This is just the transcript I pulled. Could have errors, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was a red flag, or
you do realize
off, though,
there was hold off on that point though, unless you really want to push it now. But the US market for chickens is very tough, because imagine we have to inflate our local prices, meaning, they're like tariffs and so on imported chickens, just to make our local chicken prices competitive, because US chicken meat is that much cheaper, right?
So they're much larger companies and stuff. They end up saving a lot of money in other ways.
Because once you're that much larger, you can, as you said, you save money with what they call economies of scale. That's the fancy word for it.
Economist, Mr. Economist,
right?
Look at you.
It's just crazy, because they even said, I remember looking at an article and they're saying they've increased their efficiency of like how much their chickens cost to create. So the cost per pound was like $2, and they've dropped it to now $1.35.
Yep, in the briefing.
Yeah, same from the briefing. So it would be a strategic move, or I guess they're reviewing it to decide if they should divest that plant, maybe in South Carolina, or they could massively just restructure it and figure out how to do that. But I guess we'll see in the final months. But I'm just wondering how bad that would be, because if Jamaica is that
make a
much
prediction,
if it even if it's, because all right, you can look at it two ways. One, having the US operations, even though it's not as profitable as Jamaica and so on, having it increases.
Well, remember, just the meat. Hold on, let's localize just to the US meat.
Sorry,
side.
Because there's also the hatcheries. You're right. Just the US meat significantly, and
Mm-hmm.
also U.S. prices have fallen. I think you said that's also in the briefing
Mm-hmm.
that they're struggling because market conditions. You know, the poultry market has like there's like a lot of production, so they've been dropping
Mm-hmm.
prices. So the cost for chicken isn't that a good thing
Mm-hmm.
though? Like that would be so beautiful if that was here because chicken's so
Mm-hmm.
expensive here. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, as much as that creates a tough environment for JBG,
Mm-hmm.
if you divest it, the meat section, they
Divest
get
is
an
what?
in, meaning sell it off. If they
Okay.
sell off that
Mm-hmm. So you mean the
that
meat would be
property
in
and
their
so on,
hand and it's like they drop it basically?
yeah, they drop it into
Mm-hmm.
somebody's hands and then somebody says, "Here," you just throw the
Mm-hmm.
cash, take it,
Emergency.
and I'm just gonna buy this
Emergency.
this
Yeah.
property. Yeah, I'm just gonna buy this property. Right? I mean, they're getting cash straight up,
Mm-hmm.
and they could use
Mm-hmm.
that cash to invest in other things. I hope they don't just use it to
Mm-hmm.
pay off debt. But suppose they say, all right, we see another market that they want to break into
Mm-hmm.
or so on.
Or they won't expand the fertile egg side of the business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
because one of the
first.
things they said, which was sick, they were talking about how someone asked them about bird flu.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw like apparently there's been some. Well, I think it's been going on for quite a while. A lot of bird flu in the United States, and they're saying, hey, if you are someone that sells a lot of the chickens and stuff, then that could be killing off your chicken. So instead of you buy the chicken for 10, I don't know how much a chicken costs, say it's
Mm-hmm.
$10, and instead of you selling it for $20-$30 and making money, it gets sick. And so it could kill the chicken and you don't even get any money from it. And then you also have to put money into feeding it and raising it and
Mm-hmm.
drink or all,
And it's just
all of
not
that
just
stuff.
one
The
chicken;
health.
it's the whole
Yeah.
batch of chickens you have to
Thousands,
kill.
millions. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. It's like a lot of chickens have been. Yeah. Yeah. So, I
Yeah.
wanted to share the quote that did stand out to me. It was said, so I think the CEO, Mr. Theok asked essentially about like the bird flu impact. And what he was saying is that, but for us, we're good on the meat side in terms of that. But he said, I hate to say it this way, but for the fertile eggs, it's actually not a bad scenario because it's pushing fertile eggs up in terms of pricing. You don't want to benefit off another man's challenge or suffering, but what we do in the fertile egg industry here, for us, we literally sell insurance for, when the big companies get challenged, and we are able to supplement their fertile egg needs. So
Mm-hmm.
they're seeing that both in Canada and Latin America and the US. So our fertile egg pricing is very good. And then, but they say on the meat side, we haven't had any challenges. So it's been good for them on the fertile egg side.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, I know the fertile egg is very very nice for them. If they
Mm-hmm.
could supply more, so maybe they use that
Mm-hmm.
money from the meat side and invest heavily in the
Mm-hmm.
fertile eggs,
Mm-hmm.
and then supply a lot
Yeah,
more
yeah,
customers. It is possible
yeah.
if they have that trust in
Mm-hmm.
America. Funny how we talk about
Mm-hmm.
trust when a lot of this is fraud, but in terms of like specifically the fertile eggs, though, if they have that trust, and you're not
Mm-hmm.
getting bird flu from them and so on. I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
into agriculture that way, so I don't really know how
Mm-hmm.
that goes. But yeah, you could see them
Mm-hmm.
expanding significantly and supplying a lot of, like having a lot more vendors that they supply to. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There was
maybe,
one other. There was another thing I said I wanted to share. So remember how we were saying that in the audit there was that line about the whole thing about the phone, doing the telecommunications audit and how the auditors would have usually preferred that. I think we had shared it before.
yeah, we did.
They were so on the briefing they were asked about, hey, okay, the most recent results you put out after the audit were good. You made a profit.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to say next quarter that, hey, there's another 3 billion in that we missed? Or have you guys completed investigation from a numbers perspective? And then they were CEOs or the higher ups basically were saying, yes, that the closet is clean. Still check the official briefing, but this is just a transcript. The closet is clean. All skeletons have been removed. But then I guess I was wondering that technically, if, I'm reading what the audit is saying, right, then there theoretically could be more. It's just we don't really know. We don't know if the telecommunications would add any more damage or anything like that.
Mm.
I don't know.
I
That
was
part stood
thinking,
out to me a little.
what also stood out to me was more on the legal side too, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Oh, yeah,
one of the
yeah, yeah.
questions, I think, our open question was more like legal proceedings if they would follow the fraud. Because in
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica, you have the FSC, which is the Financial Services Commission, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to report to them, and JSC
Mm-hmm.
was kept informed when the issue came up, right? And
Mm-hmm.
JBG Broilers, they said they would keep regulators updated on material developments, and so far we haven't heard any fines or
Mm-hmm.
sanctions from the Jamaican regulators.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they'll have to keep seeing and so on, and ensure that Broilers handles it properly and so on. But they're in the US. The US also has quite a bit of scrutiny, and since this was a US subsidiary, right? But it's not a publicly traded company there. So I don't think, based on their laws, that the SEC has direct jurisdiction. But when I was doing some more digging, right, if there are any laws, like US laws, like for example, like bank fraud or loans were obtained based on like um falsified documents, tax fraud, those things can attract attention from the US law enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
like the IRS and possibly FBI and so on. And so the CEO was actually asked about likelihood of law enforcement involvement, and he actually said he was not prepared to comment further. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, still a possibility. It's not off the table. Um.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the fact that, remember, all of this happened, and so many people are unaware of it. So there must be they're still figuring things out. So there must be so much more that they don't know. So when the investigation continues and continues and so on, we'll see. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the main. I think that's one of the reasons the stock price is so low too. Because you can be printing profits, and they just printed a ton of profits a while ago. But
Mm-hmm.
I think people are just wary now of what can happen further. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to estimate
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah. There was some other stuff. Did you see what they said about that they're hold on me. So something was actually mentioned about they were going to be doing some revaluation. So apparently, so they have the assets that they have in the States, and then they have the assets in Jamaica. What they were trying to do to um they were my understanding was that they were going to revalue some of the assets. So it's almost like, oh, I think I don't know if you have to do it with your car. I have to do a revaluation every few years, and then when I do the revaluation, the value of the car can change, and then that can change the price of your insurance. And you can do the same thing with a house. So you can have a house, you buy it, it's 10 million. The value has increased significantly on the market, but it's almost like on one way of documenting it, it's almost like it will still value the land at the same price. So you
yeah,
have to pay someone to then revalue it, and then the value can increase. And then that can help sometimes. Well, yeah, that can help sometimes. Like, for example, in this case, when they've lent money to people, and then the people that are saying, hey, we're only comfortable lending you the 10 million if you have assets worth 40 million. Your assets drop to 20 million, is almost like they say, hey, let's revalue this, pay the money to get some of these things revalued. It's been a while, maybe a few years. That was my, I guess, understanding of that. I'm not an accountant, but they were saying that would they actually gave an estimate. I was surprised in some ways at that. I'm
yeah, the
trying to find it.
estimate
They
kind of
they
nice.
actually,
I know
yeah.
the figure right now
Ah,
because
yeah, I found it. 40 billion.
mm,
So they said this was the first one is having done and if they said they're
well,
basically done it. Like they said, or it's not technically out in the financials, because the financials are going to be released in the next, I don't know, 2 months or so. But they're saying that it would go up by 40 billion. So that same
mhm.
negative equity that we're talking about, bam, once again, magic. Isn't that funny how finance is just like that? Magically, bam. It goes from 50 billion to this, then bam,
to
another
negative
thing, and
this,
just
and then
to
up
then
now
back to
to
positive.
positive. I think they
Yeah.
said positive 32 billion
Yeah.
range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at that and I'm just like, wow, look at that. Maybe can we talk? I think we spoke about like contrarian investing, and how sometimes when a company is going, say bad news comes out about a company, an investor that I big up, Howard Marks,
Mm-hmm.
he gave a good example. What he was saying was that say you have a company, before any news comes out, it's worth 10 billion. And then some bad news comes out. Could be fraud, it could be they get damaged or something. Like say there's a factory, they have like 3 different factories, 3 different locations. Each of them does about a third of the business. One of the factories gets burned or damaged, right? News comes out, oh, yo, the fire, oh my gosh, it's really bad. Yes, it's bad a fire has happened, but say the company before was worth 10 million. As I said, a third of the business was coming from there. So it's almost like the stock sometimes, for example, could drop to, if depending on what's going on, people could be scared and people may say, yo, send the stock down to 3 million. So they're saying, hey, the company's worth 3 million. So yes, the value has dropped, but maybe it dropped from 10 million to 8 million or from 10 million to 5 million. So it's selling for 3 million. That actually is a time to buy.
Yeah.
Or could be a time to buy. So I guess I was trying to look at this and say, hey, is this really like a time to buy? Should I buy Jamaica Broilers? Because yes, this is bad, but is it, what price is it at now? I think $18.
Yeah.
So it was $40.
$18 bad?
Beginning of the year. Is it $18 bad? Or maybe it's actually $20 bad? Maybe I buy it 18, sell it at 20. I don't know. I was looking at that. And then the other thing that they said.
That's a nice 10%.
Yeah, they spoke about tax credits. That was interesting. They even, I don't know if they should have said this, but they said it. This even said, so they were saying that the tax credits technically, I'm not an accountant, but my understanding of the tax credits is like, hey, a tax credit, how it works is that instead of you having to pay taxes, like say, just like we all have things like general consumption tax, income tax, companies also have to pay income tax, and their income tax, I think most people income tax, well, not most people, but some people in Jamaica, for example, could be paying 25% income tax. So you make $1 million, only 750K is yours. You have to pay out, the rest gets deducted or given to the government. It's almost like with a tax credit. Say you had a tax credit of 250K. If you got a salary worth $1 million, you would actually get the $1 million if you had a tax credit. So instead of them taking that tax, it's almost like a waiver to say, hey, you don't have to pay that tax. You actually get to keep that money.
Yeah.
That's how I understand a tax credit works.
Yeah, that's how I understand it to work too.
Yeah, so they were saying that based on their estimates,
it cuts the tax bill, so it just cuts how much you have to pay in taxes. Yeah.
So they were saying that I think it's up to possibly 30 billion in tax credits.
Yeah, I
And
realize.
they're saying like possibly say they even realize a third of it, that could be $10 billion that they could save. They're saying that they still have to do stuff, like they mentioned stuff with like the IRS and having to go. I don't know how long something like this takes, but I'm like, hey, if I was like a tax accountant, I could look at that and say, wait, for things like this, usually actually wouldn't take that long. Or actually, even that 30 billion, the 10 billion is quite conservative. In a situation like this, I think they could get 20 billion. So then you could be like, hey, while everyone is scared thinking that Jamaica Broilers is dead, you could be just buying up your broiler shares saying, hey, it's bad, but it's not $15 bad. It's $20 bad. And I'll buy it at 15, sell it at 20. I don't know. What you thought?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think that would do.
You agree that I should buy?
No, I agree with the tax credit situation.
So I should
and the
sell?
fact that it can be I think that it can be a good thing for, well, not just the company, but also investors too, because they said it would still just be a fraction of that 30 billion. But hey, if a fraction is a third, that's not bad. Having an additional 10 billion just show up is kind of nice.
A small 10 billion.
Yeah, just out of your wallet. Just give me a
like
small
a 10 billion, bro.
Nothing serious. I'll pay you back.
No balance sheet can handle it, bro.
Chop. I think though, like, there are a lot of reasons why I was considering buying broilers, and still I'm considering, because all of this is still very fresh, like very
just
fresh.
Full disclosure, we may own shares in any of these companies. I mean, currently I don't own shares, but I can't say.
Hey, this not going to release till when? Tomorrow? We're releasing this tomorrow. We have a whole trading day to release this. So let's see. So that's the thing. It might actually be a bargain at these prices when you meds it.
I was just thinking, like, you could be buying now, while I think people are kind of scared. I don't know what, based on what I'm seeing, like, look at some of the headlines. If I type in Jamaica Broilers, you were reading the articles. aren't a lot of those headlines really bad and
Yeah,
like scary
yeah.
and would make me like say, oh yo, they're gonna let me pull this, I'll pull it up.
And it's probably their worst crisis. I don't know if they've had a worse crisis.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
look at the underlying numbers; they're profitable
Uh-huh.
for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine if that was a normal year, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you even saw what their profits were like Q1 last year, and they're up over
Mm-hmm.
400% profits.
Mm-hmm.
You
How much of
know?
that was cash though? I don't know if it was F check.
True. Yeah, true. I
Um,
could check the cash.
but yeah, I was saying like, look at some of these articles. These don't really sound nice and make me love Jamaica Broilers. They say this makes
They
me like,
don't.
oh no, it's gonna explode. So
Yeah.
JBG defends forensic inaction in US probe.
Mm-hmm.
JBG weighs exit from US meat business after $46 billion in fraud. So this one, Jamaica Broilers privacy defense under fire as auditors flag incomplete probe. JBG crisis deepens. You know, this is, I mean, it's very serious, but I feel like this would make me very scared. You know,
Yeah.
if I didn't know what was going on, I just see a loss. The article says that, the headline says that. Maybe I don't even have time to read the article and just sell my shares and whatever price is selling on the market. You know,
Real.
maybe I bought shares at $10 or $5. So me selling at 15, I'm happy with that. I'm like, oh, I'm up X percent. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Meanwhile, this could go 25 next week. Yeah, it's highly
I wouldn't say
unlikely.
next week. Yeah, okay.
Definitely not next week. Highly unlikely. But I don't see it.
Yeah.
I could see it
I
going
guess,
from $18 to $20.
yeah. I mean, I was just thinking like so if you bought now,
mm-hmm.
it'd be more, the plan would be to sell maybe when, for example, the next report they tell you, they legally have to tell you, this is, I think the report is due, report period ends is October. So then mid-December. So that's, yeah, it's like a month away. And they could technically drop it early or they could drop it late. But say within the next month, they could report. And then maybe people feel more comfortable when they say, oh, say they do a profit and the balance sheet now looks better. And then maybe they put out a notice. So one of the things I'd say has been at least good about them, they've been putting out a lot more. They've been putting out a lot of notices, like giving you updates and things like that. They're trying to handle, it's a really tough situation what they're going through. And I think they're trying to handle it as best as possible, at least from, I guess, my side looking out.
Yeah.
Could be that I suspect they'd put out a notice about the whole debt or loan restructuring that you're speaking about. So, okay, the people that they owe money to now, they have a discussion with them and say, hey, give us some more time, and then they say, hey, we've now restructured this. This is a lot more better. Maybe they'll do more investor briefings, you know.
And remember, they also have support
maybe they
from
sell the US, maybe they sell the meat side, and then they say, hey, the X billion Jamaica Broilers, they'd have to put out a disclosure for that.
Yeah, they would
Jamaica
have to.
Broilers makes $3 billion in profits from sale of US side or something, and you know, I think there could be like a positive view for that. And so it's like, hey,
there are a lot more things, because even right now, as I said, and we've discussed them having their own strategy to rebound and so on. Like, they've been doing a lot of things to fix up itself. The core operations are still profitable, and they even grew during the cleanup and so on. And there are a lot of good signs that they're doing things. And even when I think about support, right, I think that they will get support from a lot of like financial institutions and so on, because it's broilers. It's a blue chip stock, it's best dressed chicken, like major bank stakeholders and so on. I'm pretty sure they've given leniency and support and stuff like that. And I don't think the government even wants broilers to fail, right? I don't think the government would risk food security and jobs and things like that, because it's a whole, it's an agricultural industry, it's a poultry industry. You get me? So I still think that it's hard. People, there's a saying that it's hard to kill a listed company. It's hard for a listed company to die. But broilers specifically, I think there are too many
companies
people.
Ever really die?
Some companies
Or
die.
they just change.
Or some get suspended for so long you forget about them. But some companies die too, you know. And but for broilers specifically though, I don't know, man. Like you speak about the contrarian investor and so on, and so you know, I think right now just so many investors are like scared of JBG, which I mean, yeah, that's for me when future returns can be greatest, you know, like, and if it executes its plans, if we continue seeing positive earnings, imagine if they announce a dividend sometime next year. Like, imagine if things turn around and they're ahead of schedule and they're like, oh, I think we can probably go back to regular dividends again. A lot of those catalysts could drive the stock up significantly from these lows. And then when I think about even the top 10, look at Mr. Berry. Look how much money Mr. Berry put into broilers, right? This man I'm pretty sure this guy is probably thinking, now is also the time to buy. And I have to start thinking like those kind of guys. You get me? Because I want to be very rich one day. So let's see. So yeah, hey.
I was even thinking like from a math perspective, right? So for all of 20, we're saying that one of the measures you can use to value a company, you can use the equity that we explained before, assets, the things that make money, liabilities, the loans, and when you sell the assets, pay the loans, what is left after, that'd be equity. For example, for 2024, the stock was trading like around $30, right? Based on the amount of shares, let's just call it's 1.2 billion, but let's just call it a billion shares. So it's basically saying, okay, the company is worth 30 billion, right? That was the market price. That was the price that people are buying and selling the shares on the open market, right? If you look at the if you look at I was saying the shareholder equity. So for the audited financials, April 2024, before it got fixed up and corrected, the shareholder equity was 30 billion. So it was trading around the what do you call it? I think it would be the book value. Or it was what the equity was, like what they're saying, okay, what's that excess of 30 billion? The market is saying it's worth 30 billion. So it was almost somewhat, I mean, it is like some simplifications, but it's almost like it's trading around that value, right? Whereas they said that, hey, the restatement and stuff is going to happen, and the market hasn't seen that yet. And I'm guessing there could be some people who would doubt it. They'd say, hey, what if they're just saying that and it's even worse, and then the stock even goes lower? And that could happen. You know, always have to factor in some other possibilities. I'm not, you know. But what they're saying is that with the revaluation, it could go up by 40 billion. And since so it's negative now, it could go to 30 billion, right? And we're saying the stock right now is selling at 1888, let's just call that 20. So it's almost like I'm saying, hey, what if when that came out, people then wanted to send it up? Maybe they don't send it up back to I hope I'm not losing anyone. I'm just trying to say that, hey, when you look at even some of those metrics, maybe if that were how you wanted to look at investing or how you wanted to invest, you'd say, oh, what's the book value or whatever. It's almost like you can know the possible book value ahead of time. So if you thought that, oh, it would trade at the book value, which would be the $30, or say it's not $30, maybe it's even 25, a little below the book value. Buying now at 18 or whatever, maybe isn't bad for you. You know? I guess so. I think there's a lot of different ways, I guess, to look at it.
Quite a bit.
But yeah, it's definitely kind of wish I'd bought last week. I don't know why I think I was busy and I had some other stuff dealing with. I'm just like, yo, I should have just sat down and been like, hey, what's actually going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, because the thing is, once again, you knew that the audit was going to come out. They told you, they even gave you delays and they gave you like a proposed deadline and they say, hey, it's going to be this. I remember even I read it because I was waiting for it. I knew it was going to come out. And then because they told you, oh, I should probably pull up the report to see where they said it. Oh, this look a bit weird. This isn't. There was one where they said, hey, so I found it. So September 30th, they put delay in submitting the audited financials. This was September 30th. And then they said, see, I even highlighted it. I'm going to share my screen. 1 second. Yeah, so this was from the stock exchange. It says September 30th, 4:39 p.m. They say, hey, as previously advised. So once again, remember they were telling you this is not the only time they've been telling you updates and updates. They've been doing an ongoing and complex review and audit exercise in regards to the United States operations. And they said further delay in the submission. And then they said they had previously indicated it would be by September 30th, which it did reach September 30th. They were not able to do that. They said it will be on or before Friday, October 31st. Well, I guess technically they missed that deadline because the report came out November 13. So I guess it was probably...
They kept putting out like things like that though, in terms of the delays and the delays and so on. So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I think it's probably still early.
Oh, it's still definitely early. There's still nothing. I mean, a low of $17, and now it's trading at 18 something. Yeah, I think it's still early, and there's still.
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like we've already seen the low, unless, of course, like a lawsuit, something massive comes out.
It could go? I think it could go lower. I think it could go 15.
I think the only real way it goes 15 is if there's something else that comes out that we don't know, like some massive lawsuit or something. Then I say, all right, yeah, I think it could go lower in that case. But otherwise,
what do you think is a chance that? Okay, so you're saying there is a thing that you think could happen that could send it to 15.
Yeah.
Do you think the chance that happens is 0?
No.
Okay, so you do think it can go 15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. But so guys, where does that leave?
We've been rambling.
Yeah. Where does that leave the chicken company?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I've thought that they've clean house, repriced their assets or planning to, and so on, and they've charmed banks and people to keep the lights on. So now the board faces like a fork in the road. Do they double down in the U.S. poultry or chop it off, or at least chop off a piece to save the rest of the bird? I think us as investors, we have to decide whether this phoenix is ready to rise or it's just a rooster with one more crow left.
Yeah, you've been holding that one in for a while.
Oh, you mean, bro?
Let the man write it down.
I tried to figure out something. Yeah, I typed it down, like pieces, bits and pieces. But guys, hey, if you learned something today, please hit that subscribe button. Right, drop us a like.
We're trying to reach, guys. You can help us to get. We're aiming for 5,000 subs this year. I think that was just kind of us just saying,
super
pick
ambitious.
a random number. It just sounds nice.
You do realize
think about it, the year we came in at 1,000.
We came in below 1,000 this year.
Oh yeah, it was my birthday when we hit the 1,000. Yeah,
exactly. That was early January. We hit the 1,000. So we weren't even at 1,000, and we said, "Yo, we want 5,000." But it's fine. It's fine.
Just 5x. Just 5x.
Yeah, and we love you guys for subscribing and just always being here, listening to us.
But we would love you more if you subscribed again.
Facts. But thanks for listening to us, boss ears.
Unconditional.
But yeah, I mean, you even if if you're already subscribed, please share with a friend. I share with people at work, actually, at my new job and so on. So yeah, share it with a friend who may think that accounting scandals only happen on Wall Street and in succession and all of those things. But hey, remember, whether you're buying stocks or you're buying chicken, always check the expiry date. That is it, guys. Stay limitless. Stay limitless.
Peace.